Hey everyone, so today we're going to talk about what to think about when ankles are weak, right? Typically we would have a weak ankle, just we don't have a strong muscle that surrounds our ankles. That's our shin muscles and our calf muscles. We could have sprained our ankle, had surgery on the ankle, for whatever the case may be. We may have broken the ankle, so the ankle has now become weak, right? So how do we strengthen a weak ankle? Well, your shins, I'm going to take a step back here so I can show you, right? Your shin muscles are in the front, okay? Got my handy dandy marker. Yeah, I'm going to draw on myself. Typically, shin muscles are more where you're weakest or where you feel more tired or strenuous is on the outside, right? So if this is my big toe, here's the outside of my foot, right? So we're looking somewhere up along through here, right? This is usually where the tension lies, right? Sometimes we feel it down around our ankle, but normally we feel it through here, and then that can go up into our knee. So we think we start having knee issues, but really it's going to start maybe from our ankle and kind of come up this way. Do we feel interior a little bit? Yeah, maybe along here. We can feel it, right? If we have other issues like on the inside of our ankle, right? Or the inside of our foot, really, because if we have flat foot and our ankle collapses in, right, we're going to still have to feel a strain through here. But a lot of time we see it on the outside. And again, this could be because of injury, but also could be how we walk too, right? If you strike more on the outside of your foot, you're going to feel it here. And if you strike more on the outside of your foot, then the inner part of your ankle is going to become weaker, right? So now I'm going to turn around and show you my calf muscle, right, of my other leg. What with the calf muscle, we typically, again, we're going to go more outside, right, along this area, right? But when it comes to the inner, I think you find it more inner, somewhere around here, right, near the crux of where the knee bends, that's where we typically have more ankle issues, weaknesses in our calf, right, is more inner, right? Shin's a little bit more outer, calves a little bit more inner, okay? And again, just how you're walking, if you've had injury, things like that. Well, how can we fix all of this? Okay, so some of the exercises that you can do for this, right? I'm going to move my little box out of the way here. And a lot of them are done seated. So I'm going to grab my little seat, like so, right? Because a lot of time what ends up happening is we end up rolling our ankles, which is what we don't want to do. We don't want to roll our ankles. Okay, so calf workout is actually pretty easy. Calf workout, you're going to have a band, if you have one, right? And you're going to put it over the front part of your foot, okay? You don't want it in the arch. You don't want it too high up. You don't want to do this with a roller band, because if you have a tube band and you try to do this, the tube band's going to come up and hit you in the face, and we don't want that. You want a flat band, okay? Again, don't put it in the arch. Don't put it too high up, right? You just want it in the middle of the front of your foot, the palm of your foot, okay? I'm going to grab each side. You don't want to grab middle like this. Okay, you want to be able to grab each side, because then you're going to distribute the weight evenly, right? If you grab like this, you're going to hold it too far off to one side. You're going to hold it too far off to the other side. You want to be able to hold both sides, okay? Tension, right? You don't need to pull all the way up here. We're not working upper body. You just want to give a little bit of enough tension so that as you push down and you want your foot forward, you're going to push, okay? Now we're working your calf muscles, okay? Now I'm going to turn to one side and I'm going to push down. Now see what happened was my ankle just turned. My knee didn't turn or my hip didn't turn, right? Just my ankle, okay? Pushing straight down is easy, but when it comes to turning in, that's harder. But it's not as hard as going out sometimes. Sometimes going out can be the hardest. Now as you see, I'm going back and forth, right? As I go back and forth, I'm not really moving my leg that much. My ankle's doing all the work. I don't want hips to swing, because the ankle's not doing the work at that point, right? It's just the hip that's doing the work. You want the ankle to do the work. So if pushing out sides is hard to do, then you can practice without the weight. And I suggest practice without the resistance band, pushing side to side, and see how you do. See what your range of mobility is, because you may find that your range of mobility as you move side to side isn't that great. One leg's going to be stronger than the other. Typically the weaker ankle, you're going to have a hard time doing the exercise. Now, with stretching with calf muscles, right? Because that's the other thing that could be impeding you is stretching. right? The calf muscle could be tight. So you may want to stretch. A couple ways to do it. You're up against the wall, right? Your one foot's back. You kind of want to push your knee forward. Your heel is to the ground on the back leg. This is the leg that you're stretching. It's the back calf. You're going to keep your heel to the ground, bend your knee slightly, and push your knee forward until you start to feel a stretch, right? Hands would be on the wall as you feel the stretch. Front leg, right? Again, knee bent. If you want to give a push forward with that knee, that's fine, as long as the back heel doesn't come up, right? So you may be able to stretch it this way. And also, right, toes forward, but if we rotate the toe in towards center a little bit more and push, we're going to hit another part of the calf muscle, right? But just be careful with your knee. Much like the exercise, when you're pushing down, don't push with your knee. Make sure you're using your calf muscle. Think about the muscle that you're using. Use the calf muscle, not the knee, to push, okay? Because we typically push everything from our knee, which is what we don't want, okay? The other calf stretch that you can do is if you have like an incline board, or put up your foot against something. So this time, our foot that we're stretching is going to be in front of us, right? This way, it's flat and back. Here, you can put it up against the wall. See, my toe is up. My toe would be up against the wall. And then I'd kind of push my knee forward. You could feel a stretch in your calf. This stretch ends up stretching a little bit lower through here. The one in the back, you may get down below, but you're going to get a little higher up, okay? One stretch is probably going to be more effective than the other one. Now, let's talk about shins, right? Remember, your shins are in your front. So, with that said, shins are hard to train, okay? Just because of, you basically need to have the band around your foot. I'm going to show from the side, which is one way to do it, right? And it's pulling straight up. Now, this is fine for going up, but the problem is my arm's out here. I may be pulling more from one side than the other. You're really not getting a good pull out of it. So what you could do is take a mini band, kind of like this, and then you're going to, get in there, okay? And then, so the bottom foot is acting as my brace, and then the front foot, I'm moving my ankle up and down. I'm moving it the other way, turn, move it to the outside. Now, this is hard because your legs are going to get tired, right? And you're going to feel it in your knee, especially if you have knee issues, you're going to feel a strain through our knee. This is our shin muscles are very weak, right? And we need to strengthen our shin muscles, right? Shin splints, things like that. So, what you could get is a handy dandy ankle weight. Good for more than just ankles. You're going to put the ankle weight with the weight up top. Okay? Heel on the ground, pull up towards you. You're going to start to feel the pull in your shin muscles. Okay? You want to come up straight towards you, right? Like with the calf muscle, I was pushing straight down. With the shin, I'm pulling straight up. Then I'm going to rotate to the side, and I'm going to pull up that way. Again, my knee didn't move, right? Just my ankle. Now I'm going to rotate out. My knee didn't move, and I'm pulling up. This is another exercise where we may move from our hips. You don't want to do that. If your shins are too weak to use, especially when you rotate it outside or inside, take the weight off and practice doing the motion, right? And also practice rotating from side to side, side to side without using your hip, right? Our hip comes into play so much and our knee comes into play because our ankles are so weak. That's what's supporting us. Building up your shins, right, can help with shin splints, but also helps strengthen the ankle. Same thing with your calf. These muscles, what helps support the ankle. Now, the other thing that really helps working in the ankle is balance. Everyone hates balance and everyone hates a balance pad, but they are important, okay? And one of the biggest things I like to do with my clients, right, is have them be in the middle of the pad, one leg back, one leg forward, right? And you're gonna push up and come back down. Now, we could push up and stay here all day long and see how long we could balance, and there's something to that, right? Because we're working our ankle, it's moving, and so on and so forth. But The initial up onto an unstable surface, grass, snow, ice, mud, whatever the case may be, right? That initial up is where our ankle and our shins and our calf are going to come into play to help support us and grip us. Okay, so if we don't get used to that initial walk, that initial step, and seeing what that feels like, right, then that can become weaker and we could fall. Our knees, our ankle could give out, our muscles around can give out, that type of thing, right? So we want to get used to coming up and going back down, coming up and going back down, right? Only holding it for about 3 to 4 seconds and then coming back down, right? Is that initial going up onto something, making sure we're stable, coming back down. Going up onto something, making sure we're stable, and coming back down. You do this front ways, but you also do it laterally. Because again, we don't live in one plane of motion. We live in several planes of motion, right? You could be stepping up sideways onto something that's an unsteady surface, but the muscles in your ankle aren't used to it, right? This is what we're doing. We are training those muscles to work that way, okay? Even come up on diagonal, right? I'm going to come back up. Coming up diagonally on from 45 trains the muscles differently. Coming up from a 45 trains the muscles differently, okay? So as much as we don't like balance pads, they are important to help train weak ankles. All right, so these are some things to think about, right? Make sure you work your shins. It's very hard to work your shins, but it is possible to work your shins. Get a ankle weight to help support, to help wrap around the foot, right? Make sure the weight's up. Movement, strengthen those shin muscles, okay? It's very important. We very rarely train them. That's what I'm looking for. We very rarely train them, right? So again, shin splints. How do we stretch our shins? Interesting thing, right? Take my shoe off. So you have to be very, very, very careful when you do this, okay? Hold on to something if you need to. See how I'm kind of going on my toe? Right? I'm going out to my big toe and I'm stretching this way. It is one way to stretch your shin muscles. What you probably feel more is a stretch on the top of here, right? But you may feel a stretch through your shin muscle. Okay? The other way to do it, take my handy dandy chair back again, is hold your foot. And you're going to push up into your hand. You want to stretch these muscles, and then you want to do it up, rotate to one side so that the toe, your big toe is closer to you. On the outside of your foot, you're going to push up, you're going to stretch the muscles there, then we're going to rotate your foot out. So the pinky toe is down, and your big toe is a little bit closer to the ground. And then from the big toe side, you're going to push up this way, right? Stretching in all different directions to help stretch out the shin muscle. All right? So again, these are just some things to think about when you have weak ankles and how to strengthen them up. How to do it: calf exercises in all directions, shin exercises in all directions. Don't move from your knee or your hip, and work with a balance pad because it's going to help strengthen your ankle, especially when going up onto unstable surfaces. All right, guys, thanks for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.